What's up, y'all? Welcome back, man. Thank y'all so much for clicking play. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for watching the videos in its entirety. Y'all have been really hanging out with me, and that means a lot. I don't know what it is, but I appreciate it. I see the comments. I read a lot of the comments, and you know, it's just, I don't know. Well, but I want to say thank you. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been purchasing hats from the link below, hatsforsale.com. and putting in LFR 10 for 10% off and receiving free shipping all over America. I haven't checked out any Steven Crowder in a long time, but guess what? He is debating people on whether or not CNN is fake news. And of course, they got to change his mind. And he had this lady in his chair, and I heard this lady happens to be a Republican. And she's going to change his mind, so this should be interesting.
Democrat, Republican?
Republican.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you're probably not going to disagree.
I do disagree. I think it's really bad precedent to set that we think the major news publication that disagrees with our president, we label them as fake news. We don't listen to the other side. I think it's really detrimental to a country where you block freedom of the press from disagreeing with the president. I think if every outlet was like Fox News and really liked the president, or just conservative criticism of the president, it would be bad for our democracy. I think it's better to have these disagreeing publications so that we hear this other side.
Okay, what is she saying wrong? Because right now she sounds like I like it. I like what she said.
I completely agree with everything you've just said. I don't disagree with any of it.
That's why I think calling them fake news is a bad thing.
But they are fake news.
How are they fake news?
They fabricate news. They make it up. They lie.
Like what?
I just listed a bunch of examples, but here's one. So how do you go through, for example, saying Donald Trump knew about the Trump Tower meetings beforehand, right? And you're being fed this by Lanny Davis, okay? And say it comes from an anonymous source, and then put in your story that Lanny Davis declined to comment when he is your source. He is the person who was the source for the story. You are proactively citing an anonymous source that you know to be Lanny Davis, who you said isn't commenting on the story.
I mean, there's a lot of that goes into like protecting witnesses to stories.
That's disingenuous. Ain't no protect no witness
And stuff like that. So I think that's like a certain.
It was completely unsubstantiated, and they mentioned Lanny Davis in the story. Like, Lanny Davis, by the way, refused to comment. Well, who gave you the story? Anonymous? You mean Lanny? You mean Lanny Davis?
They didn't cite that he was the person that gave them the information.
No, they said it was anonymous, and then they said, by the way, Lanny Davis declined to comment. It was Lanny Davis was the source.
I understand protecting anonymity, though.
Well, not when it's always anonymous. Not when it's Donald Trump's pissing on Russian prostitutes. Anonymous. Not when it's, well, this Russia collusion, which we know, if you work with a Republican, has proven to be one of the biggest hoaxes of all time. Constantly proven false, having to retract it, people having to resign in disgrace. And the problem here now is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have people out there, 40% of Americans, who believe that Donald Trump colluded with Russia, when we know definitively that he didn't.
I think that there is maybe a bias in CNN that goes, or there definitely is a bias that goes to the left in CNN, but that same thing is true on the right, and the same problems happen on the right. I think you could just as easily stand out here with Fox News, or Fox News is fake news, or something like that.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't have a problem with someone who's far left and promoting it as opinion. I don't have a problem with someone who's far right. So, for example, I have the same problem with Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity that I have with Rachel Maddow and Chris Matthews and Lawrence O'Donnell, which is no. I have no problem with any of them. I have a problem with people who present themselves as though they are the arbiters of news or objectivity, and that's what CNN has done for a very long time. That's my issue with them.
I mean, Fox News' slogan until last year was fair and balanced.
The radio side. And by the way, their news is significantly more fair and balanced. There's a difference between the opinion side. So, for example, Fox News is really clear in separating the Bill O'Reillys, the Sean Hannitys, the Tucker Carlsons of the world from, say, Shep Smith, who's a center leftist gay guy, right? Or Judge Napolitano, who's a diehard libertarian. They have Donna Brazile over there now. Whereas when you look at the host at CNN, Don Lemon, you look at Anderson Cooper, you look at Chris Cuomo, for crying out loud, and they present it as though it's news, that's my issue. And it is, to me, always remarkable that the stories that, okay, we can say fabrication occurs on any news network, always seems to tar and feather and be an attempt to undermine the legitimacy of our sitting president. I mean, you do have to acknowledge that when they get it wrong, they always get it wrong in a way that, if it stuck, would be very harmful to the president.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that an important thing to notice about all those examples that you did, and those are good examples that you should be pointing out, that they retracted them, that they did their best to go against and say, oh, this was wrong, I think that undermines them being
Well, they didn't until they were
labeled.
caught. They didn't until they were caught.
That's how most people function. Most news.
Well, I don't. Okay, fine, but I don't give them credit. I don't give anyone credit for once they're caught having to issue a retraction.
I think a retraction is plenty credit, but I also, because Fox News, I'm sure, has had retractions that they've had to wait.
Okay, first of all, I'm just going to say this, and I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong before, but I don't think she's a Republican. Or is she? I think she's what you guys call a rhino. Yeah, that's what I think she is. I think she's a rhino. I don't think she's a Republican. She's very sweet though. Her being like, that's the only thing that I will say makes her a Republican, because she actually sat down, is having a conversation. She's not yelling or anything like that, but she's gone off of her feelings, and she's trying to take up for CNN for retractions, even if they're lying, because she think that a retraction is enough, even if they blatantly lied. That right there makes her seem like she's a Democrat, but I don't think she's a Republican, man. That's just me. I could be off though.
Wait for people to call out.
Sure.
I think they got a lot of things about Benghazi a little bit off. They had to retract.
But a little bit off, but Brian Stelter, his
would like to
entire
know-
show was Russia. Right? Come on, you know this. CNN, their
yeah.
entire lineup was Russia, which was awful.
But there was a
All
lot
anonymous
of things
sources.
that we didn't know about Russia. That it was good that there
So they
was
made
this
stuff up.
agency looking into, or just speculating.
That's a good thing. Just someone says, I'm speculating, fine. But if someone says, we're delivering the news, that's a problem. Like Jussie Smollett, if they said, we're speculating, that's not what Brian Stelter and Brooke Baldwin went out and did. They talked about it being this.
That is true. That is true. Speculations is dangerous. It's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, especially if you don't even plan on providing any substantive information to back up your claims. It's extremely dangerous. People have been losing their careers off of speculations and rumors, and just putting a story out there that just get people to talking, and the buzz starts up, and next thing you know, they start looking further into it, and the company can't take the heat while this person is with them, so they have to set them down or fire them, release them, or something like that. That's not a good thing. How could this young lady think this is a good thing?
Like Jussie Smollett, if they said, we're speculating, that's not what Brian Stelter and Brooke Baldwin went out and did. They talked about it being this horrendous hate crime, that this is a sign of rising hate crimes across the United States of America. After the Jussie Smollett hoax was revealed, Brian Stelter said, well, I guess we'll never know what happened that fateful evening. Like, my issue here is when you do have, obviously we're using the term fake news because President Trump uses it, but they fight back and say we're legitimate news. They're not.
I think that they do things. I think they have a legitimate purpose in our democracy. That's what I think they get a lot of things wrong, and I think it's great that you are calling them out, or that people on the right are calling them out. But I just think calling them fake news, and that's what I want to know what your end goal is of calling them fake news. Is it to get them not watch? Is it to get them shut down? Is it to get President Trump to do something towards them?
No, and that's a very fair question. As a matter of fact, anyone here who watches my show, they know that I say bookmark Huffington Post, Salon, Slate, CNN. That's all I read. I tell people always know what the opposition is telling you. You should be informed. But I include CNN among that group. I include CNN among a left-wing activist group, not news. Especially, by the way, when they're trying to shut down other news channels. Especially, by the way, when they're trying to shut down independent YouTube channels, and they abuse the systems with false copyrights. And they, by the way, are the ones who coined the term fake news.
I agree with the term left-wing activist group rather than news, because that's what I see a lot of people. Okay, it's my turn. Like when they go from hour to hour to hour, when it's a new person, show all of a sudden, and it doesn't seem like they're reporting anything that's fair to everyone. It seems like they are combating any claims that make their side look bad. They're not putting out the news for everyone. They're up there to actually stand against another side, and that's a left-wing activist group.
Use the systems with false copyrights, and they, by the way, are the ones who coined the term fake news, trying to talk about Republicans, right? I had been hit with the fake news moniker for something that was entirely accurate. This is actually a lot of people don't remember. Fake news was a term invented by the left. And then Donald Trump said, okay, well, you want to talk about fake news? And went through the laundry list of all the fake fabrications from CNN. So my problem is not with someone being left. My problem is not with, but being dishonest about it.
And if you're gonna throw something at me, but I catch it and throw it back, guess what? I'm defending myself, and you started it, so it's all fair, right? And they started it. If they started it, then yeah, other people can use it as much as possible. That's something else, isn't it? I didn't know that CNN created that term. That's news to me. I just now learned that. Wow, okay. And Trump caught it and be like, okay, I'll use this against you too. News, fake news, fake news, fake news. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right, I'm here for it. So what y'all thought about that? That was good, man. I enjoyed that. I think that the young lady, she just was up for a debate. She was up for a debate. She's one of the people who lead with her heart. She could have possibly been a Republican. She probably was a Republican. She just isn't a full out conservative, because she definitely leads with her heart, and she seems sweet. She seems sweet, but she didn't leave anything of substance that I can take with me, and that will make me change my mind. That will make me believe that CNN does not put out one-sided information that's not really news. You know what I mean? It's news to us because, oh, did you hear about this? And they put it in front of you. No, I didn't hear about that. Thank you. Well, it's news whether it's, real or false, but if you can prove that it's false, which a lot of their stuff has been proven to be false, I think that says that it's fake, right? It's fake news, right? No? Okay. But I want to hear what y'all got to say about this in the comments below. If you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I'm Van, and now we are all the LFR family, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and hopefully inside the Patreon as well. Y'all have been amazing per usual, man. Love y'all.